Wow, great coffee. Should be. It's Boulevard Coffee, sponsor for Coffee and the Candidates. Candidates for the Los Gatos Town Council, of course. So join me, Larry Gerston, when we interview all the candidates for the Los Gatos Town Council. Well, hi. Welcome to Coffee and the Candidates, the 2022 edition. This is brought to you by Los Gatos Community Foundation, Boulevard Coffee, and of course, KCAT. My name is Larry Gerston, and every 2 years we come to you after meeting with the candidates for the town council to share with you what they think and hope that you'll be a little bit interested in knowing what they think. So grab a cup of coffee, sit down with us as we talk today to Rob Rennie. Now, Rob, you are an 8-year member of the council. This is your second go-around as mayor, as I recall.
That's correct.
Retired, you say, right?
I'm a retired engineer, but I'm starting to do a little consulting in the hydrogen fuel cell market. I was an engineer when I got elected to council, and then kept it on for about a couple years. And then I realized there's so much more as an elected official you can do to volunteer in the community and get on boards that only elected officials can do. I've been on the VTA board. I helped found Silicon Valley Clean Energy Authority, providing 100% carbon-free electricity. I'm currently on the Bay Area Air Quality Management District, which is our air district air regulatory board, and a lot more. But a lot of those meet during the day, so I ended up not continuing my day job, but instead I became a small business owner for a while, fit in the cracks in between all my public service. I owned a postal annex in Los Gatos here for 3.5 years, so I know what it's like also to be a small business owner in Los Gatos.
I'm interested in the attention you pay to energy. It's clear that in Los Gatos we've got an energy issue in terms of all the exhaust, the pollution that comes, particularly on the weekends as cars go through the town, or attempt to go through the town, en route to Santa Cruz. There's a lot of pollution out of that, a lot of fossil fuel waste as it goes up with the rest of us coughing. How would you deal with it? It's obviously not been dealt with very well so far.
Well, there's two parts to your question. The first one is traffic is a challenge, and we've tried a lot in Los Gatos to get people to stay on the highway. We've tried closing the ramp at the other end of Los Gatos, and that just moved the problem into neighborhoods north of Route 9. So that didn't really solve the problem. We've done other things. We're getting a little bit of relief with these no right turn signs on Saturdays, so people can't go through the neighborhoods and then turn right on to Santa Cruz. So that the apps aren't sending them through quite as much, but as many people realize, this last weekend, Labor Day weekend, it was hot and it was a nightmare. There was a lot of traffic. So on council, we really think that only way maybe we can make a difference is to widen the highway so that we can keep people on the highway longer. So we have started a design project. We're in design and environmental study of extending that third lane from Lark down to Route 9. The idea, the more we move traffic past Los Gatos, the less people will jump off and come into town. So in my view, we want people to be on the highway. We don't want them filling up our side streets in Los Gatos.
And how, or I should say, when will that be completed?
Good question. I believe we are 1 to 2 years from finishing design. Then we are in the process of applying for grants because the construction phase is a lot more. We're going to rebuild the whole Route 9 interchange to make it safer. So right now, if anybody's tried to walk across that, you have to run across 4 entrances or exits coming off the highway. So that whole interchange is going to be redone also to make it safer for bike and pedestrians to go across it. And as you get on the highway, you notice there's no acceleration lane. So the highway comes to a screeching halt and you're white knuckling as you're trying to get on. So all of that's going to be improved to make it safer all at the same time. But we still need funds for the construction, and that's underway, figuring out that next step.
Right. And I assume the state is going to pay most of that.
Well, it comes from different sources. The Measure B that was passed in 2016, I think it was, that we can get some funds from that. We got funds from that for our design. There's other state and local types of funds that come through. Either VTA puts through some of these, MTC puts funds, so it comes through different ways. There's something called OBEG grants we can apply for also that we have applied for to work on that project. We also have another project we're applying for funds to build a bike and pedestrian bridge across 17 at Blossom Hill Road. Right now it's very narrow, very close to both the middle school and
Yes.
Van Meter, and lots of kids riding their bikes on a very narrow street there. So that's another high priority for us, is to improve the safety for all those kids that are trying to get across 17 at that Blossom Hill location.
Okay, let's talk about governance. 2 full terms, 4-year terms, running for a 3rd term. You're allowed to run for a 3rd term because although the voters passed 2 full terms before getting off, do you feel at all like you are going against the voters when you apply for that 3rd term, knowing that the town is now committed to 2 4-year terms?
No, not at all. If the voters don't want me, they've got a chance to not vote for me now. And I believe that it was probably a mistake also to go with 2 terms. I think you need something more in the three-term range. As a council member, I've been at it now for 8 years, and I can tell you it takes you 3 or 4 years before you really start understanding and hitting your stride. So you're really a good performing council member at year 5, 6, maybe. So you, by the time you get to 8 years, you've had a couple years of high productivity. The other thing that's important is, as I mentioned, a lot of other boards, like been on the VTA board, to get there and to influence your other elected officials around the area to help bring resources back to Los Gatos. It takes years to build up to that. So an experienced council member has a lot of advantages for Los Gatos. Next year, I will be, if elected, the only council member with more than 2 years experience. So that's a lot of institutional knowledge that I will also bring in and help continue to kind of guide the new council member as they develop on the council. So I actually think that my experience will be extremely important in the next term.
Okay. Since you have that experience, tell me what you believe is the best thing that you worked on over these 8 years. What can you look back and say, I did that, I'm so proud of that?
Well, the absolute number one was, as a founding board member of Silicon Valley Clean Energy, we started providing 100% carbon-free electricity as soon as we started up, and we cover most of this county except for the 3 cities that already have their own power plants. We have 97% participation, so we've saved I can't even remember a large number of greenhouse gas emissions, something like 40% reduction as soon as we did that. I was the chair of that organization the year we started actually delivering the power, so that I think of as one of my biggest contributions to our global warming challenges. If you want me to continue, in Los Gatos, which some people are more interested in, I would say the revitalization of our downtown is a big one. When I was mayor, I had 6 focuses in my 2018 mayor, and one of them was our downtown was not competing so well. You know, it was getting to be people going to Campbell and to Willow Glen or to Santana Row, and Los Gatos was a third thought back then. So we started doing some things to make business easier in Los Gatos, to make it more, send the message that we were open for business in Los Gatos. We reduced a lot of red tape. We removed some ordinances that were holding us back. That at one point when Los Gatos was the place to go, maybe it was good to keep things under control a little bit, but we had gotten to the point that, even formula retail is hard to get here now. You see it leave and it's not being filled. So we've done a lot of that. As you noticed during the pandemic, we've done a lot with the parklets to make it easier for businesses to survive during the pandemic. We did, again, many things with our ordinances. We allowed people to change their conditional use permits for free during the pandemic in order to find ways to innovate, to still be able to stay in business. And I think anybody would agree, you go out and look at downtown Los Gatos and we are the place to go again. So that's one, along with the other council members, but that was certainly one focus that I wanted in 2018, and over the many years, I think we've really done a great job there.
Looking ahead, the town has to come up with about, 1,900 units, I think, in the next few years to meet goals that have been set for us. Where are we going to find these?
Yeah, so you're referring to the state-required housing element, and the term sometimes people use is RHNA. Our RHNA allocation is 1,993, and we have to create a housing element that is certified by the state. And in order to get it certified, we actually have to plan for an extra 20% above that number. So it's something in the 22 something. We don't actually have to build them. We just have to come up with a plan for the state how we're going to change zoning to allow more density or choose sites where these units could go. They're going to require us to come up with incentives and other sweeteners so that hopefully some of it occurs. It's a lot of units for a town as small as Los Gatos. I think they've probably overdone the number of units they gave us, but you know, that's our challenge, is to try to, as you said, where were we going to put these units? In my opinion, we should try to focus them where they're going to have the least effect on our infrastructure and traffic. And our council actually started a 3 years ago with a framework of saying, let's try to focus this around our commercial districts, because people could take more trips walking or biking if they can walk to their coffee shop or for groceries, or put it closer to the highway so you don't have to drive all the way through Los Gatos. You know, one solution could be just increased density through all the neighborhoods. Well, now every extra person you've added, now they have to drive somewhere. Then they have to drive past all these other houses and through all the collector streets. So our focus is to try to do it, you know, plan for this. We won't actually build any, but in a way that has minimal effect on our infrastructure and the character of Los Gatos.
So what areas would you focus on?
We are Los Gatos Boulevard, for example. We'd like to do some mixed commercial, so continue with the commercial Nevada, but put some units over the top. We've looked at some of the other centers, like on Pollard Road. There's been discussion of maybe allowing a layer of residential above the downtown. A lot of the downtown businesses are only one story, so if you've got residents above it, people could easily, you know, never get in their car. So many people work from home from now. You can work at work, go out to, you know, get your dinner or whatever other entertainment you need without ever getting in your car.
So building on that Los Gatos Boulevard and mixed use, the Whole Foods is supposed to now go into that former area where there was, I think, a Chevrolet dealer, as I recall. Okay, is there a mixed use there? Mixed use there? Is there something on top of that for people?
We haven't seen a plan yet. That would be our preference for them to do that. They haven't submitted any plans, and as far as I know, they haven't even come to our conceptual development review committee. I'm not on that anymore, so I don't know for sure. And we haven't finished with all our zone change and our housing element. So this is all in the works, and they're kind of moving in parallel. And the location you're mentioning is the corner of Los Gatos Boulevard and Los Gatos Almaden Road, just across from the Knob Hill there, that they would want to go into. But that would be, in order to meet our RHNA numbers, that would be ideal for us, is to also have some housing over the Whole Foods. You know, there's a trip people don't have to take. They can go across the street to the Los Gatos Cafe for their breakfast or lunch, or you know, there's a lot of other things close by that they don't need to get in a car for.
So you could probably see 10 or 12 units, so that's a pretty big area, that lot, I would think.
Certainly, yes.
And that's the kind of thing you want to see more of.
Yes.
Mixed use.
That's the way we are thinking, and I agree, thinking how we would plan for these units that the state is requiring us to plan for.
Let's move ahead for a second and talk about your goals. What's the most important goal you have in mind if you're elected for four more years? What big thing do you want to see done next?
I think one of the biggest challenges facing us is our structural budget deficit. That's increased quite a bit recently. We're surviving right now with the ARPA funds from the federal government that's helping us plug some budget holes on that, but that will end in 2024. So coming up, are we going to cut services? Are we going to find more revenue? I believe our structural deficit, and that's the amount we would end up losing every year, is about $2 million. So we need to find about $2 million more in revenue or $2 million in start looking for savings, which effectively means finding ways to do things more efficiently with our staff, so we can do maybe less of them, or actually reducing some of the services. And we've recently done a survey to try to understand what services people in Los Gatos value the most, so that we protect those and then maybe look in other areas to save cost.
Some people talked about a sales tax hike. What do you think about that?
We did a sales tax in 2018, I think it was, the Measure G we called it. We increased, so we have a Los Gatos only 8-cent sales tax. So I don't think we would do more sales tax. We also did a TOT, that's the hotel tax. We increased that to be even with a lot of our neighboring cities. I think we went from 10 to 12% or something in that range. So we've done some of those kinds of tax increases. We are putting on the ballot this year a business tax overhaul, basically. We haven't changed our business tax since about 1991, which just the cost of living is 100% over that period of time. So we are putting on the ballot, it has to be approved by voters, asking for some changes in our business tax, which would bring in about $1 million of that $2 million structural deficit I believe we have.
Is that a 2/3 vote?
I think it's a majority vote.
Simple majority, I think, would be if it's for general town use. 2/3 vote would be if it's a specific use.
And so this is a business tax, so I think it's a general vote.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's my recollection.
Well, guess what? I don't know either. So we both have to find out.
Yes.
It's a good thing for me to know, too. So the one thing you want to do is, I got lost a little bit. What's the most important goal you have?
Well, I think the most important thing to work on is keeping the town financially in good shape.
Okay.
And making sure that we can pay our pensions and, provide the best service that we can with the dollars we have.
Okay, well, that's a good goal that everybody has. I mean, let's try to cut through that. I mean, what other thing would you like to see besides making sure the budget's balanced? Tell me what your vision is of this place over the next 4 years.
One area that I would like us to work more on sustainability. That was one of my 6 focuses last time as mayor, and we kind of have each of our departments working on sustainability, but I think there's more we could do. We have a group of citizens that have been asking us to promote plant-based eating, for example, for people to be healthier but also save on greenhouse gases. We could do more to look at, I think we still have some diesel heavy equipment removing. We've done some things with reach codes. For example, all new residential has to be all electric so that there's isn't any more natural gas, carbon, greenhouse gas emissions. We haven't done anything yet for commercial buildings. We could look into that some more. We could look at more ways to encourage people to switch existing to be electric also.
Assuming that business tax passes, that's not revenue neutral, obviously, if you're bringing in another $1 million. What impact do you think that might have on drawing new businesses here?
Well, we had a long discussion with that about it. Which business would be affected, and it breaks into some categories of service businesses, regular sales type of businesses, and now I should have reviewed it before I came, but first of all, one of them we did up 100%, so it was only a cost of living increase from before. And compared to other jurisdictions, it's not that far different from where others are. We've tried to focus on smaller businesses not being affected. So if you're a small business, you want to get started in Los Gatos, we actually decreased the business tax. But as you grew and got more successful, you paid, before it was kind of a flat fee. So it's part of it are, I'm not describing it very well, part of it's flat fee and part of it is sales related. So we increased our flat fee ones for larger businesses by the 100%, and then I think we increased by about 40% for the businesses that are graduated by sales, for example. So a company like Netflix is going to pay more, but we designed it so it wouldn't be so high that Netflix would leave town. We did a lot of outreach to businesses. We worked with the chamber quite a bit to get a lot of input on where's the fair amount to help out in Los Gatos. We'd already done other measures, and we thought, now is the time the business community could also help a little bit supporting the services in Los Gatos.
Well, Rob Rennie, we thank you for coming today. We know you're going to be out there looking for votes, and we look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. We look forward to seeing you again as well at Coffee and the Candidates, brought to you by Los Gatos Community Foundation, Boulevard Coffee, and of course KCAT. So come back and see us soon.